Hello there, Romans here and welcome to my next music review. Today it's going to be Lordi, Sexorcism.
Music review. Music review.
Lordi is a Finnish rock group that rose to fame thanks to their surprising and relatively unexpected win at the Eurovision Song Contest in 2006, as most of us probably know at this point. I can say that I'm a pretty big fan of Eurovision. I've been watching it since 2012, with the exception of the last year when I was just somehow too busy to watch it. And mostly when you have songs that participate and winners, most of these go in a style of pop, mainstream pop or dance pop or whatever. And Lordi were pretty unique as a group because not only they had a pretty heavy yet very melodic and very commercially made hard rock song, hence the name Hard Rock Hallelujah, but they also had stage presentation that was anything but what Eurovision is about, because they had costumes like from horror movies and they won, which was pretty big surprise. And I think that up until this day they remain one of the most exotic wins in Eurovision, and that's also one of the reasons why most of the people still recognize them and know them. Honestly, when I've discovered that they were about to release a new record, at first I was like, oh wow, they have a comeback or what? And then I was kind of surprised when I found out that they've never broke up. They've been releasing records ever since the Eurovision win, which is great for them. And at this point I was kind of like surprised, why haven't I listened to any of their records before? So, Sexorcism is going to be my first record from Lordi. So I've heard the record 4 times as of now, so let's dive right into it. Now, this record has already caused some controversy with its cover, which depicts possessed woman by a demon in some sexual way. And honestly, in my last reviews you've probably seen that I don't really comment on lyrics that much, because, you know, this may sound a little weird because I'm a singer and songwriter and lyrics are obviously very important for me, yet I do not necessarily focus on lyrics that much when I listen to music, unless of course I have a lyric sheet in front of me, or maybe if I really focus on music a lot. But you know, if I have to focus on words then I kind of miss the music, and I always care about the music more. But I don't think that you necessarily need a lyric sheet to know what this record is about. I mean, just the title pretty much hints it away. When I watched the previous titles of their records, they were always fans of play on words or some puns maybe, and even Sexorcism is kind of a play on words. And there are many songs, some of which I found funny, like for example The Beast Is Yet to Come, and not in a sense of arriving, or Hot and Sataned. I mean, some of these are kind of interesting. I also have a feeling that Lordi may be a sort of a parody group, like they mock this genre and they kind of they don't take themselves seriously, and it's really like a parody group. This is something like, for example, The Darkness or Steel Panther, and Steel Panther are probably closer in terms of lyricism, but I mean, is this really what you want to sing about? I mean, before I even start, I really like this record a lot, but lyrically, I mean, you have a chance to say something meaningful, and they decided to, you know, do it in a relatively humorous way, but sometimes it's, I think, too much. At this point, the whole controversy just seems like they are controversial for the sake of being controversial. I wouldn't necessarily say I don't like it or that I like it. I'm somewhere in between. I'm relatively neutral to this thing. As an artist, I would probably not do that. Now, before I even start, I must say that I really love the voice of the singer, which is relatively easy to imitate, yet it's a voice that for me as a singer sounds like something that may not be that healthy and that technically correct, and he still maintains the same voice after all these years, so I guess he must be doing something right. And my personal guess, I may be wrong, but my guess is that what helps him to get the voice he has is something that the Mongolian throat singers use. And his voice is one of those things that really make Lordi stand apart from pretty much any group. And if you heard hundreds of rock groups, you could immediately say, yeah, that's them, because of the voice and also because of their relatively interesting blend of music. Now even the first track, which is a title track, Sexorcism, is a very interesting track because it is like this big hymnic arena rock song, but with some gothic undertones. You've got those gothic keyboards, and this is a relatively not a very standard or traditional take on hard rock music. I like that they kind of make it their own, because there are just so many bands playing 80s rock, 70s rock, and pretty much just every group today seems like they're playing something that has been played before by other groups and in a better way. And I like that they have their own take on rock music, and I think they do it pretty well. The song Your Tongue's Got the Cat has also a very 80s vibe, almost AOR vibe, I'd say. It kind of reminds me of Ed Guy on some of their tracks, like Love Tiger, for example. Or it reminds me of Journey or Bon Jovi. And funny thing is that here, at certain moments, he sounds like Udo from Accept. Slash and Mole Girls is another song that, if it had softer singing performance, it could have been easily an 80s AOR track. Another hard rock tune is Naked in My Cellar, where the chorus immediately reminded me of their contemporaries from Finland, Nightwish. Another great anthem on the album is one of the final tracks, So Domesticated Animal, which is just great. And then you've got the final track, The Haunting Season, which also has very strong 80s vibe. There are also tracks where they get more into a metal territory, like for example The Beast Is Yet to Come, where he almost sounds like Rob Halford in those higher notes, and it's a song that kind of shows Judas Priest influence. And then the song Rimskin Assassin, which has almost a disco-ish chorus. There are also a couple of average tracks, like for example Romeo 8 Juliet, or Hot and Satan, Balls of Christ, or Hell Has Room. These four tracks seem relatively forgettable, and considering that the record is about 62 minutes long, I think that this record could do without those tracks. So generally, apart from the relatively not clever lyricism, musically I really like what I'm hearing on this record, and it's a very nice and pretty well done hard rock tune with really great singing, a lot of energy, and pretty interesting take on the genre, which I think is something that doesn't happen very often today. Therefore I decided to give this record 7 points out of 10, but honestly, if a couple of the songs wouldn't be on the record and if lyrics were slightly more meaningful, I would very easily give it 8 points out of 10, because I think this is a very enjoyable record. If you are a Lordi fan, you can let me know in the comment section below which records do you think are their best. If you have heard the new album, you can tell me how well does it compare to the previous stuff, if there is certain development in their music or if it's pretty much the same stuff around and around. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe, as I also have my own record that was recently released. It's called Pursuits in Life, and I think that you may find that record very interesting. There's a single on my channel which you will also be able to find somewhere here probably, and it's a rock music without guitars but with drums, bass, saxophone and keyboards, making it pretty unique. So give it a listen and let me know what you think, and once again, thanks a lot for watching.